Well, so med school itself is typically 4 years, and there are three different tests that you take. Well, two while you're in med school and one immediately after being in med school. And the curriculum, the first 2 years of curriculum, historically was in the classroom. I like to say I still have splinters in my behind from sitting, 8 hours a day in the classroom for 2 solid years. And it's very much a didactic thing, at least in those days it was. And so, it's biochemistry, it's histology, it's gross anatomy. You dissect the cadaver under the watchful eye of your supervisor or whatever. Yeah, you study physiology. There's psych. Psych is introduced in your first year.
Okay.
And so for 2 years, that's kind of the curriculum. And then you're released into the clinical realm as a third-year med student, and you start to actually see patients in the premises. You've sort of developed this basic understanding of pathology in various forms, what underlies pathology in the human body. And
What do you mean by pathology?
yeah, anything that would be abnormal, outside of the typical thing. So if someone has difficulty with digestion, they have a form of gastrointestinal pathology,
Right.
or so goes the theory.
This is disease, essentially.
Yeah, disease,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
And so you're going to encounter real living human beings that have those conditions or diseases, and you're going to start to interact with them like you and I are interacting right now. And we'll try to, engage you, learn something from you, put that through the filter of my experience, and fundamental at that point, just basic fundamental learning or knowledge. But eventually, it'll be through the filter of your experience and say, okay, so you have discomfort after you eat. It's sort of a burning sensation. You feel it kind of come up into your chest. You went to the ER once because you thought you were having a heart attack, but you're a super healthy 30-something. Sounds like gastroesophageal reflux disease. And your attending will either say, brilliant, or what are you thinking? Right. And you'll sort of get shaped down, or, well, what else could it be? Maybe it's GERDs, but it could be something else. And, are you going to send him out with getting an EKG because he did go to the ER and he did say he had chest pain? How do you make that decision? That kind of stuff. That's in the third and fourth years.
Right.
Now, since I left med school when dinosaurs roamed the earth, they've started doing more and more clinical things earlier on, which I think is a good move. I think that the sooner you would get people actually learning the skills of interaction, the better. And I think that again, from patients that I work with, it's been a challenge for me to curate the right doctors to refer people to as neurologists or gastroenterologists or whatever, because so often the hard science part of it does not nicely meld with the psychosocial science part of medicine, right? Medicine is really an art.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who would excel academically in ways that would gain them admission to med school, they're not temperamentally suited to be clinical doctors.
Okay.
You can see how that would be.
Yeah. Yeah.